evening, everyone. Live from Silicon Valley, California. This is Bhakti Community. My name is JM, and I welcome you all to a program today, Bhakti On, where we'll discuss clarity in uncertain times. You can't control the storm, but you can steady your mind. With our speaker today, Shrivas Pandit. As you know, Shrivas Pandit is a veteran Bhakti yogi. He has been practicing Bhakti yoga for over 3 decades, and he conducts systematic studies of Vedic wisdom to youth and couples across Bay Area. And he also guides many in their life's journey. So really excited and glad, Shrivas, for having you back on Bhakti On.
Thank you, Jim. Dennis, Subhadra, Naveed, Michael, Subhadra, Premanishta, Adinath, thank you so much for joining. Kautuk, it's my distinct pleasure and honor to be amongst all of you today. And we can start with our usual Mangalacharan prayers. Lavanya, thank you for joining. So the topic is also pretty interesting, and it's at a time where the war is mentioned, so it's pretty interesting topic. So we'll start with the Mangalashan prayers, and then we can get started. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Paripriye Vanchakalpatarubhayascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktabhanda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The topic today is the clarity that comes, that is there in spite of the changes. And changes, we can talk of few aspects of changes. We have a story from Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, we can go from the present to the past. The modern world, it's a constant change and it's a flux. It is changing faster than ever in terms of technology that is coming in, and the software engineers or even the software professionals, they are struggling to make sense of what is this new technology with AI and machine learning and so on and so forth. And there is a world that is a little bit of fearful about what impact would it have on the livelihood and so on and so forth. It is even mentioned that computer science that was so popular at one point of time is somewhat falling out of favor from the young people who are seeking employment, or not seeking employment, but seeking college. And it was a staple at one point of time, because I remember when I graduated many decades ago, not many decades, few decades ago, many years ago, computer was still an emerging field. It was like, I don't know what's the impact going to be. And it has had a profound impact. And we can see that the other aspect of it is the taxis were like a staple. I mean, it was like a classic kind of thing, in up till, even 5, 10 years ago. Then a company came and they said, "Hey, your car can be a taxi," and then they disrupted the whole industry. And the taxi drivers, they soon were out of business, right? I mean, like at least New York and other places might be there's a lot of taxis still around, but you can see on a regular basis it's kind of gone. The same continues from Srimad Bhagavatam. Here was a king, his name was Maharaj Parikshit, and he had an illustrious background. He was the last surviving, not last surviving, but yes, the last surviving from the family of the descendants of the Pandavas. His grandfathers fought the war, they secured the kingdom, they ruled for 36 years, and they made Parikshit the king. Now, we never have to worry about, he didn't have to worry about the Senate or the Congress. He didn't have to worry about re-election campaigns. He would be the judge, jury, and executioner. And he had absolute power over this earth. One day he went for hunting in the forest. And in the forest, he saw that he was exceedingly hungry and thirsty. To satisfy his hunger, he went to a sage and he asked the sage for some food. And knowing that the sages were very hospitable, the sages would satisfy his hunger and thirst. But this sage was deep in meditation and he didn't notice the king. And feeling very hungry and thirsty, and apparently feeling rebuked and rejected in his hospitality, the king actually took a dead snake that was lying and put it around the neck of the sage and left. And but the sage was not disrespectful towards the king. He was deep in the meditation. He didn't notice the king, which was rather unfortunate, and that's how it happened. When the sage was still in trance, his son, who was a small child, came to know of the insult that had been given, or his father was subjected to. And that boy pronounced a curse on the king, saying that within 7 days the king will die. Now you can see the sudden change here. At one point of time, you're just the king of this entire earth, and in the next moment, you're cursed by some boy to die in 7 days. You can see the upheaval that happens. And forget that, um, even on a day-to-day basis, we do see changes. I just want to open up and just type into the chat, or what sort of change do you see? With before I go, I just welcome Yasmin, Vicky. Thank you for joining, Pradeep. All right. So it looks like nobody is encountering any change in their life. It's just me. You can unmute, or you can just all right. If nothing, I'll continue. I'll continue. Even as a person, we encounter the change. At one point of time,
Denise, I think, has something to say.
sorry.
I
Yeah.
just wondered if somebody can type the name of the king, because of hearing and the Sanskrit, I can't pick it up. Of course, we see many changes today. It's very disturbing what's happening in the Middle East. And yes, how can one not think of that every free moment?
Yeah, unfortunately, correct. Yeah, there are wars, climate changes, so many things. The question, Dennis, more, should I continue, or did you have
Yes,
anything?
yes, please continue.
Thank you. And from my own perspective, I see the change that at one point of time I was a young boy and a youth, and now I am in a different phase of my life. So these changes are also going on. Apart from myriad of changes, the bigger question comes is why change? I mean, who creates these changes, right? Isn't it a question to ponder? Because is the change created by me, or is the change created from someone else, and I'm subjected to that change? And the answer seemed to be like I am subjected to the change because nobody wants to, grow old. For example, it's a change that is not pleasant. Nobody wants to see the wars or rising costs and so on and so forth. Then the question comes is who's we are subject to change, but who's making the changes? And Bhagavad Gita actually gives a very important aspect of this. And Krishna says in the Gita that this world is a place that is subject to miseries and is temporary. And the word he uses is temporary. Temporary means that what exists today might not exist tomorrow because the very nature of this world and how it moves is temporary. Right? So far, so good. Makes sense. For example, a child takes a brick, Lego, for example, the building blocks, and you build a beautiful building. While that building is there, isn't that building temporary? Because the child might take it and tear it down and probably build an animal out of it, for example, or maybe a car. So you can see how that shape of a particular structure that's built of Legos is very temporary. And similarly, Krishna is saying that this world that we are in is subject to changes because there is constant upheavals. So far, so good. Makes sense. Then the bigger question comes.
Denise just raised your hand, I think.
Sorry. Yes, Denise, go for it.
I'm the only one talking tonight.
Please do. Please do.
So there's so many changes in the world right now that it's very difficult to keep up. For instance, I was listening to a short interview with a man who wrote a book called The Loop, and he was discussing how AI, Chat GPT, and I blanked out on the other name of the AI one that you can chat with. They're collecting information so fast on you and making profiles and everything, and there's nobody really regulating anything. And today, as a doctor, I got on a children's health platform called Children's Health Defense, and there was like this message that right now they're in stuffed toys. They're putting in like an AI thing that's collecting information on the children that are using the toys. Like how, and I say, how can one keep up with all of this? Because you have to have ears everywhere. And sometimes as people get older or elderly, it's very difficult to keep up, even if you're not old, to keep up with the information to make wise decisions for what's right for you, your family, your grandchildren. So yes, I agree. And I am the only one talking tonight.
That's fine. Please do. I'm so grateful that you are. Thank you.
Thank you.
In fact, when you pick up the phone to say, "Hey Siri," it is actually listening. And then when you say those words, it just activates it. So it's on the constant listening mode. Um, so for the children's toys as well, when they create a lifelike toy that can interact with you and listen to your commands and respond to you and so on and so forth, then it is the same technology at play. Yeah. 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 So
I learned a Spanish word, no bueno. That means no good.
yeah, yeah,
No bueno.
yes,
That's
yes,
all I'll say.
yes. Ah. But well, that, but here is the thing, though. I think this class is fixated or not focused on how good can be extracted in this world, and that's the purpose of this class. While it can be a tough thing to stay in this world, but there is probably a lesson that we can learn and how we can benefit from this as well. So, more questions, comments. Right. So then the bigger question comes is something. A part of me yearns stability. Raise your hand if you don't, if you like this constant world of change. Nobody wants it, right? Yeah, Kautuk is just perfect. Nobody wants change. But the bigger question comes is how or why or which part of me wants no change? Which part of me wants lasting relationships, unconditional love, unconditional happiness? And Krishna says in the Gita that we are two aspects, or we are people, or we are personalities packaged into one. There is the aspect of us that is eternal, that is the soul or the Atma, and then there is the aspect of us that is changing, and that is the body. And Krishna gives a very good example where he says that we can perceive the changes in our own body. I remember when I was a small boy, but I no longer have that particular body anymore. And in future, I won't have the body that I have today. Maybe 10 years or 5 years down the line, I'll have a different body. And Krishna is saying the aspect that doesn't change is witnessing the changes of the body. Otherwise, if I'm just a material or matter, just composed with matter with no spirituality, then I should be happy with the change. I shouldn't say that "Hey, this is matter. Matter is always subject to change. I'm also a lump of matter, so I should also, I'm changing. So what's the big deal? But indeed, that is not the case. In fact, um, the majority of people in this world, they are feeling lonely in spite of having so many avenues of communication. You don't know who to communicate to. Previously, you had a strong knit, close circle or friends or family, and you had only one means of communication. And for those who remember, you had to actually write on a piece of paper, you had to stick it into an envelope and put a stamp on it, and then it would go inside. 10 days, 15 days later, it would reach to that particular person. That person would read, they would cherish it, they would read again and again, they would respond to it. But now, with the breaking away of the family bonds, I have a lot more avenues of communication, but I don't know who to communicate to. That is the problem. So the soul yearns for happiness, the soul yearns for unconditional love. And the whole idea of Bhagavad Gita is how can I find that aspect of me that is unchanging? How can I find that aspect of me that remains steady and eternal? And Krishna says that for one who's following the path of yoga, rediscovering our own self helps us to stay calm in these turbulent times. It's like an anchor that you can throw into the waters of bhakti that can hold you. Otherwise, for a mind that is subject to change, if I consider myself the matter, then I am subject to matter and material change. Yes, Dennis.
Sorry, can you say the part about the yoga again? Because I caught the first half, but then the second half I didn't catch.
Sure. If I identify myself with the mind and the world that is constantly changing, I will be like a ship on the ocean and be pushed every which way as the wind blows or the storm blows. But if through the process of yoga, I drop the anchor onto the ocean of this yoga, where I find steadiness, where my soul actually says, "This is the place I am," and let the waves come and come about, but I will not be shaken. In fact, Jen, would you mind just sharing Bhagavad Gita chapters 6, verses 20 through 23, please?
Sure.
And before, as you share, I welcome Lalitangi and Professor Weasley. Thank you for joining.
Okay, so just checking in
Chapter
case,
6, 20 to 23.
just checking if anyone is available to read.
I'm happy to read, Jam.
Please go ahead. Thank you.
In the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of great difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact.
Thank you.
So you can see how there is this process of yoga that helps rediscover our own eternal nature, and that makes us strong. And in terms of the changing world, that is the only way we can have some clarity, where we innately resort to our spiritual nature and see the world from that perspective. Comments, questions? There is something I saw in the chat, Jim. We are good to go.
Sure. Michael says he is driving, so he can't talk, and
Yes.
also did mention the Sanskrit name of King Parikshit. But Denise has her hand up. Thank you for saving us, Denise.
It's me again.
Please.
So I'd love to be in samadhi and have everything all together. That would be perfect. But I need to take a micro step. So can you provide a micro step?
Sure. One of the things would be to have a regular reading of spiritual literatures, because if I am lost in the city that I'm really unfamiliar with, for example, I don't have a GPS and things like that, and I go to Chicago, I've never been to Chicago, and I lost my phone, then I will ask for a map and say, like, okay, where are things? And I try to use the map. So the map of the human existence, it's there in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, where are you? How are you situated? And what can be done about it? So that is one definite way, Dennis, to take slow by slow to see what is the situation. And the second thing is the Maha Mantra. There is the Maha Mantra that one chants, and one really feels relief from material world as well. So those are the two simple steps to start with, Dennis, and we can do like the baby steps. Is that okay?
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. That was perfect. That particular scripture was from the yoga part of the Bhagavad Gita.
Correct. That is from the Dhyana Yoga part. Yes.
Yeah,
Sixth
yeah.
chapter.
That's actually my favorite. I like that. That was a beautiful selection. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you. Other questions or comments? No. So then the bigger question comes is, well, some might say, the changes are there, but I live with it. What do I need spirituality for? I mean, I can handle the change. I'm kind of, maybe what you're saying is fine, but I can handle the change on my own. The problem with that would be that when one leaves one's body, then what? That would be one of the biggest changes of life. And then the question would be, what am I going to carry from this life to the next life? If at all I can carry. If the life that I get next is exactly same like this, then you will feel the same set of troubles. The idea would be that if a person says, I don't really care about spirituality, then Krishna says that you are missing out on the unlimited joy of spirituality. Because Krishna says, like the Chicago map I was mentioning, maybe, Jen, if you can show verse 3rd chapter, 42nd, please. Thank you. Because Krishna gives the complete package of who we are. He gives, there is a gradation of situation, and we can understand that as well. Somebody can do the translation, please.
So anyone can help reading the translation? Go, if somebody's there, go ahead.
Lavanya.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can read. The working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind, and he, the soul, is even higher than the intelligence.
Thank you, Lavanya.
Thank you.
So here Krishna is saying, so for example, if I take this ball, this particular ball is inferior to my hands because my hands can grasp the ball, but the ball cannot go anywhere. And my mind, it looks at the ball and it thinks about it. Oh, maybe I should play tennis. Or, oh, I remember watching the tennis match. Or maybe I should, whatever. So mind starts thinking. And then maybe you're thinking while an important assignment is due, then your intelligence comes in and says, Srivas, what are you doing? You're wasting time with a tennis ball. Just put it aside and do your work. You can see how there is an internal debate that's going on. Is it just me, or does anybody also experience? Yeah, yes. So this is how our mind is and the intelligence is. And Krishna is saying the soul is beyond that. It's even finer than the intelligence. So when one cannot spiritualize, or one cannot immediately go to the spiritual platform where there is unlimited happiness. Now, Krishna says the happiness I get from senses is when I'm handling this ball, for example, and my skin likes the touch of this tennis ball, and I just, oh, this is so nice, and that's it, first, for me, whatever. But then when my hand stops touching the tennis ball, then that pleasure sensation is lost. And Krishna is saying this is one type of pleasure that we get, where the senses are in touch with the senses object. It can be anything. It can be the tongue is tasting something, the eyes are seeing something, the nose is smelling something, the skin is touching something. Krishna is saying as long as the contact of the sense with the sense object happens, you will be happy. But then once it is lost, then one becomes somewhat sad. And Krishna is saying that this sort of constant hankering is what keeps an unhappiness in this world. And people try to find happiness by trying various permutations and combinations. And Krishna is saying the Atma or the soul is far beyond the senses that is trying to enjoy. So Krishna, time and again, he says, try to achieve the spiritual platform where there is unlimited happiness, rather than stay in this world and just try to have the permutation and combinations of senses. Is that good? So far, so good. Am I making sense? Any questions? Any comments? All right. So towards that end, Krishna actually mentions there are few. Jay, I'm sorry, you were saying something. I didn't mean to.
No, I was just going to say, like, questions, comments, or even reflection. You can just, if you like a point, just say it back, because that can deepen the conversation. So, whatever, it may just enriches the discussion.
Oh, I was wondering if you could just post the scripture so that we can look at it later.
Sure, we'll do.
Thank you.
May I share something?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I just like the example of the map. It's a very map has all the different landmarks, all the different ways we can go from point A to point B. So I like that analogy of Bhagavad Gita as a map of human life. So we can understand what to expect. In a city, there are so many different things, the areas where we should be going, where we should not be going, how to go, and so everything is covered. So similarly, Bhagavad Gita has those details. So I really like that analogy.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Right. Shama Sundari, welcome. Thank you for joining.
Dinesh, did you raise your hand again?
Of course.
Please. So happy. Yes, Cheryl, thank you.
So, I mean, everybody goes for the senses and the sense objects lately. I mean, that's what the world's all about. It's very easy to go for the senses. And that's where everybody's getting themselves into problematic things with addiction and thinking happiness is elsewhere. Um, and and the senses can be our best friend at times if it's our children, by patting their back, giving them a hug. And so I think it works both ways. But we always have to be on guard to not go extreme with our senses.
I agree. I agree. I agree. So, sorry. I agree. And Krishna, the idea of Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna never says that one should just abnegate sense or senses pleasure, because we do need senses. You can't simply say, I have learned or I have read Bhagavad Gita, I don't need to eat. I will live by breathing air, because senses are necessarily bad. That is not the purpose of Gita. The Gita or any practical wisdom mentions that one has to indulge the senses only as to how much it's needed. I'll give a simple example. And for example, I'll pick on one. I will pick Jane. Why not Jane? All right, Jane buys a new car, excellently beautiful car, and the brand is unnamed, but it's a super nice car. And then he's super excited. He goes to the dealership and he takes it home, and everybody at his home knows that, he got a brand new car and he drives it into the garage, and Pavni is able to hear that the garage is going up and the car is going in. And then 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour passes, and James is not even coming into the house. Then Pavani is little bewildered, like, what's happening? But she peeks into the garage and she finds JM is in the car. Like, hey, come to home. No, no, no. This is my car. This is my life. I'm never getting out of the car. This is what I am. And then JM goes to a Bhagavad Gita class. He says, you're not the body, and what is this world? And then he goes next, he's driving this beautiful car, and he sees there's a check engine light that is on. And that says you have to take it to the maintenance. James said, I have learned Bhagavad Gita class. What is this car? What is this world? Everything is temporary. I don't care about this oil maintenance. Soon he will be stuck with no car. So the point is that we cannot have extreme attachment or extreme detachment. As in, like, the car is just a vehicle that one needs to take care of it and make sure that the proper oil changes are done, the proper, even if you have an electric car, whatever maintenance you do, maintain it for the purpose of transportation. So for the soul, the body is the car. And then literally Krishna says in the Gita, this body is like a machine that is being driven by the soul. So we definitely need to take care of the body and indulge in the senses. But you cannot, for example, you cannot overdo the car. If the car says that you need certain oil and only certain quarts of oil that you need, you just can't overfill it or do it in excess. So the same thing is with body. That when we realize this true nature, then we get clarity on where I am, what am I in this world, and then how to kind of have that clear clarity of my mission in life, and ignore all the noise that goes on, that happens in this world. So far, so good. Am I making sense? Any questions? Any comments? Concerns? Yeah.
There was a question if this session is being recorded. Yes, this session is being recorded and live streamed on YouTube and Facebook. So I've posted the link so you can check out after the class also, in case you need or want to share with others who missed today. And
Thank you.
go ahead, Dennis. Sorry. What was that?
What kind of car is it?
Any regular car, you can pick up any car you want. I mean, it's up to JM because he's going to buy the car. It's not me.
But I wanted JM to laugh. He's smiling. Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, I get what you're saying about the car, like the body needs maintenance. And
You broke up, Cheryl. I don't know if you're still online. You're freezing or you're frozen. I think we'll wait for her to come back. Are you still there, Cheryl? Okay, I think we'll just wait. We can continue and we can maybe, I know she's back, we can ask her the question.
All right. Shall I tell you the secret of... Oh, there is Cheryl back. All right.
yeah, sorry, I don't have great coverage on my laptop, so I've just jumped onto my phone.
Sorry, we lost you, Cheryl, so we don't know the questions or point you were making. Can you please repeat?
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll repeat what I was saying. I was just referring to the last sharing about the maintenance of the body and how the 4 regulative principles come into balance and to keep us connected. Yeah.
I think it's still broke, but what I heard was maintenance of body and how 4 regulative principles come in to help us maintain the body. I think that's what she mentioned.
Nice.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I've taken my video off. Yeah. Okay. So I'll repeat that. Yeah. Just in regards to what you were saying about maintenance of the body and indulging the senses, like I guess the 4 regulative principles come in to guide us so that we aren't overindulging and we can maintain connection and stay in balance.
Yep. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. That's nice. Yeah. Shall I tell you something that in the point of clarity, what can what can we carry? Because the question is, what is our aspiration? When you have that clarity, becomes really important. When you realize that I have to consider my life after this life, then you'll become really conscious of your own choices and your own way of living in this life as well. And let me give an example. Please raise your hand if you think that saving money for retirement is just a myth. It's useless. It's just no good. As Dennis said, no bueno. All right. No, every one of us is conscious that a day will come where I have to retire, and then I need to make sure that what I have today, a certain portion has to be allocated, or the financial planning has to be done in a way that I save something for future. Yes, or this. In the same vein, when I realize that I move through different bodies and there is life after this life, then I want to carry something in the next life. And I won't tell a story from Srimad Bhagavatam, if that's okay with you. And this how this valuable process of yoga and just the knowledge actually survives. So there was a great king by name Bharat, and he was extremely handsome. He had a beautiful family. He had a large kingdom that he was ruling over. When time came for spiritual wisdom, he gave up everything and he went to the forest. In the forest, he was very dedicated to the performance of austerities. Please note that you don't need to go to forest to dedicatedly perform your austerities. We have temple in Mountain View. You can come there as well. It's the same effect. Going to the forest is really tough. And then he performed severe austerities. He was worshiping the Lord and he was feeling exhilaration, a deep spiritual satisfaction and exhilaration in serving or worshiping God. And 3 times a day, he would offer the water to ablutions, and he would be standing in the river and he would be offering the water as one of his rituals. It so happened that one day when he was offering his ablutions, a pregnant deer was being chased by the tiger. And the deer was in sheer panic and fear, and not knowing the future, it jumped over that particular creek where Bharat was standing and doing his oblations. Because of the shock, the deer gave birth to the fawn mid-air, and it crossed the creek and it went to the other side of the bank, and it entered into a cave and just gave up its body out of intense shock. Now, Bharat, when he saw that this fawn had been left under his care, he started taking care of it. He started making sure that it was fed, it was taken care of, it was protected from dangers. And little by little, there was a small deviation happening from his spiritual practices. He would be performing his austerities, but he would be looking around to see if the deer is there. And if the deer, he couldn't find the deer, then he would be in anxiety. Oh my God, maybe a tiger ate the deer, or the deer is a little unhappy with me. What should I do? How can I make sure that the deer comes back to me? And by, when his inclination moved from his practices and or God to deer, then the time came for him to give up his body. And when he was absorbed in the consciousness of deer, in the next life, he became a deer. Because Krishna says in the Gita that what you think of, what is your completely absorbed consciousness, you will be that in the next life without fail. So in the next life, he became a deer. And in the body of deer, by grace of God, he remembered all his previous life. He remembered the austerities and the knowledge and the dedication to the spiritual advancement that he did. And he bitterly regretted the fact that I diverted my attention from my spiritual practices and spiritual goal to take care of a deer. And now I have become a deer. But by grace of God, he remembered that he was a deer. And he was very aware, he was very cautious to make sure that he wouldn't repeat the same mistake. And then he bided his time in the body of a deer. And in the next life, he became a very powerful sage called Jadabharat. And it's very beautiful pastimes and stories of Jadabharat that are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. But the point I want to make is this, that when one performs spiritual practices, one takes that spiritual awareness from one life to the next, and that's not lost. But everything else, that is kind of lost. For example, I may be having, to the envy of a certain person, great person, I may be having 4 Nobel Prizes and 3 PhD degrees. But in the next life, I have to start from scratch. I can't start. I mean, Professor Easley can easily attest to this. I may be a professor at Stanford, but the next life, I won't carry that knowledge and PhD degree with me. I have to start from scratch. So
take the GRE all over again.
Thank you, Chuck. It's not like I Professor. Oh, okay. Chuck was born next life, and he's 3 months old. All right, he was a professor in Stanford at previous life, so let's put him to work right now. Now, just a 3-4-month-old baby, doesn't matter. No. So we start from scratch. The question then is the spiritual wealth, the spiritual advancement that we take with us, that is something going to carry with us in the next life. And Krishna mentions that saves us from greatest danger. So the spiritual practices that we might think are somewhat wasting my time, actually those are the things that are going to save us in the next life. Whatever little we do, it doesn't matter a lot. Michael, my man.
There we go. Can you
Yes.
hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I always have to turn my microphone on. I keep my microphone and camera off most of the time. So that story reminded me of a question that I have, that it's said that a lot of many masters or gurus or rishis that are at a high level are able to hold their conscious awareness at all times, so that when they go to sleep they dream, but they don't lose their awareness. They stay conscious. They're and this is a goal to be achieved, if or to be worked towards, that not only in dreaming, but then keeping that awareness or that consciousness as you transition from the body, so that, like you said, you don't think about something foolish and wind up as that in your next life. And I'm able to become lucid in dreams at times, but I'm not at a point right now where I stay conscious and aware, and I'm troubled because sometimes in my dreams things happened and I respond or react in a way that I would never react in this life. I'm not a violent person. Say, like, I've had a dream where I'm in an altercation and something happens, right? And do you have any advice or suggestions to work towards that sort of awareness, or even insight as to if those things could be deeply buried tendencies that I'm maybe just unaware of? Just curious. Yeah. And
Thank you. So, Michael, if I hear your question right, your question is, can I be aware during my sleep, or can I handle my dreams during my sleep? So one of those, is that what it is?
yes, correct.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Interesting thing about dreams. So because I have been through so many lives and witnessed so many things, it is mentioned that the subconscious images of all my millions of lives are deposited in the dreams. I'll give an example. In the dream, if you see a mountain made of gold, you will be like shocked. And in this world, you don't see any mountain made of gold. But in the other upper planetary systems and higher planetary systems, there are mountains that are made of gold. So at one point of time, I was there, I actually saw it. But in the fractured world that I am now, I see the gold, or I hear of gold, I see the mountain. In the dreams, those combine together, bringing in an impression that I had from my previous life. So dreams are subconscious visuals of our past experiences, not this life, but many, many lives from the past. And one of the ways to actually not feel fearful of dreams is to experience deep sleep, where you can, for whatever is the personal situation, then we adjust accordingly so that we can get deep sleep without dreaming, because that will actually keep our body healthy for our spirituality in the next day. So that is one aspect to it. The second aspect to it is that we have the Supreme Lord appeared as Chaitanya, and he was submerged in love of Godhead. Day and night, he was thinking of Krishna and pining for Krishna, and was completely in love with Krishna. And he would see that Krishna would come in his dreams, and the pastimes that he enacted would be played in his dreams as well. So there is the present situation of dreams where we have to regulate those dreams that they shouldn't impact our sleep. But in a very highly advanced state, the sleep is not going to be there, because the heart is completely pining for Krishna and wants to meet Krishna. And those are very esoteric pastimes as well. So the consciousness slowly becomes more and more elevated from material to spiritual when you advance in bhakti. Is that helpful, Michael?
I think so. Like it's like I'll give an example if it makes it a little easier. Like one night I was dreaming and I was in a maze and like a bear appeared and I don't remember if I strangled the bear, but I fought with the bear and I think at some point it got brutal. I ended up like slicing its neck or something. Like I killed the bear. And I was like, dude, I really like animals and I don't like harming animals. Why would I do that in a dream? And it like I woke up kind of disturbed by it. And I hadn't seen a bear recently, and I'm like, I can't imagine myself wrestling with bears in my past lives. I mean, I guess maybe I could have, but yeah, sure, maybe different realities or realms. Who knows? But yeah, that was disturbing. So, but what I'm hearing from you is that putting more time and energy and devotion into thinking about higher things in this life, in the waking life. Like you said, if you're just wholly devoted, wholly mindset on Krishna, you may, with more and more time, that will have an effect on those dreams in the future. I mean, that's what I'm getting out of
Absolutely.
this.
Yeah. Yes, you got it right. And then you
Okay.
wrestling with the bear and killing it. Maybe it was a past life impression where you were a woodsman in the forest, for example, or even you were in a body of another animal that was to be eaten by a bear, or you were equally in that level where that experience has been stored in your subconscious memory, and now it is whatever be the trigger. In this present life, it's hard to tell a trigger. It could be that you are having a friction with someone and it manifested as a dream you are having in that aspect as well. So while dreams are real, in the present realm, one should acknowledge it and then just move on, saying that it is illusion. It doesn't have any bearing in this present world, but maybe I did it in the past, something like that. But as we advance in bhakti, Krishna will pervade our dreams. You will think of Krishna. No questions. Dennis.
Okay, I was going to say something to Michael. So I come from Canada, in the north of Canada. There used to be people that in the 1800s and the early, they trapped fur. They were fur. They would, kill animals and get their fur and use it for clothing or sell it or trade. And that's how the people survived back then. So maybe you were a fur trader back in the 1800s in the northern part of Canada. When I was a child, I lived in the wilderness, um, and I had to take a boat to where I lived. And there were no roads or anything. So we lived in a cottage out in the wilderness about 4 months out of the year. And I was not very far from my house with my brother. We were just walking on a path, a footpath, and there was a bear in front of us. And my brother told me, I was probably 3, 4 years old. He told me to keep very still. I don't remember what happened, but the bear didn't attack us. He probably went on his way. But now another thing is that my Ayurvedic teacher, who is a scholar in Ayurveda, he told me there were 3 different types of dreams. I apologize, I can't tell you all 3, but it's in a course I'm taking called Awaken Sleep. And he said there out of the 3 types of dreams, that if you can remember your dream, that's the most important one, and that's the best. And he said to write down your dreams as soon as you remember them. I'm not sure why, but his name is Dr. Suhas, and you can probably find him online if you want to ask him some questions. but he has a book out called Awake and Sleep. So, yeah, sometimes we don't always know the answers to everything, but friends can always help.
And chanting the Maha Mantra will definitely help.
Yes, yes. But telling your friend, telling your friend your wild dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. So, Chitra, thank you for joining, and it was Hare Krishna. Leisure as well. So, all right. So the idea that one oh, today is the daylight saving. Maybe that's why it's that makes sense. Tomorrow. All right. So in a nutshell, what we covered today was that the world has two aspects to it. One is the temporary and the changing aspect, and one is the spiritual aspect. So by advancing in one's spiritual life, then one gets clarity and one drops an anchor in the ocean of spirituality, so that one's material vicissitudes that go up and down in life, we can actually control it by the process of yoga, and especially from the process of bhakti yoga that involves, chanting mantras and meditation and on the Supreme Lord and reading scriptures and so on and so forth that truly help us navigate these vicissitudes of life. So with that, I stop here. If there are any final one or two questions, comments, or reflections, because it's again almost 6:31. Dennis, that's a good one.
JM, have fun with your new car.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Shivas, for getting me a new car, and thanks, Dennis, for guiding me. And Michael, thanks for joining. This is the first time, I believe, on Bhakti. Thank you for so much joining. Really happy and glad to have you. And also suggesting that maybe more prior to 2001s are the ones you would prefer. So I'll look into that as
Yeah.
well. And thanks so much, Shivas, for another wonderful session. Really happy and glad that you, during these turbulent times, you reinforce some of the focus areas for us. Really happy. And thanks everyone for participating and in the making it very interactive.
All right. You can unmute your mics and we'll just say like the yogis that are coming out of the cave. Haribol!
Haribol!
Oh.
Hey, JM, one other thing is that some if you're looking at older cars, most people don't, but the 2001 uh Honda Accords were still being built and manufactured very well when they were competing with some of the larger car market back then. And I think the 2001, they switched from using a timing belt to a timing chain. Might have to double check it. It might be a 2002 or 2004. But
Okay.
the timing chain made it a lot more reliable. So
Okay. Thank you for that input. Yeah.
Thank you.
like 300,000 or plus miles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huge.